Welcome to Inside Sim Racing and this special report on this Ferrari F1 wheel mod for the Thrustmaster T500 F1 rim by, this guy has a few different names, but ModMates or F1 Wheel Mods. And it basically, he's a one-man show. It's a fabricator. And this guy's name is Kai Lohmann, and he's from Germany. And yeah, he created this piece of sim racing art.
Incredible sim racing art.
Actually, he didn't create that. Started with this. Started with the stock F1 rim, and this is what we now have.
And we'd like to thank Kai for sending us this one, and actually one of our community members, Yayats, who actually arranged the whole coming together and getting this on its way to us.
Yeah, his name is Peter, and he facilitated this review, and then put me in touch with Kai, and Peter himself was ordering this rim, and it ended up staying here with us. So for a few reasons, but anyway, here it is, and we're going to review it, pros, cons, rev scale, tell you all about it, and go from there.
Yeah, and this one here is basically a replica of the real F1 wheel, the same one Alonso and Massa are seen using every weekend. I mean, well, every other weekend. Yeah. Every race.
It's now got some extra weight to it where it feels like it could be the one that's in their car.
Right.
It's for the PC only. You know, it might work on the PS3. You're not going to get the LEDs and the LCD. The buttons all should work. Honestly, I didn't try it. I'll be completely honest. Because why would I want to run this wheel on the PS3 when I've got all this stuff? And honestly, I would not recommend this wheel for somebody that has a PS3 because, first of all, you have the USB cable hanging off the back.
Which you wouldn't need. I mean, you're not getting the advantage of it, really.
Right, and you wouldn't be able to use the LCDs, LEDs, and it's just a little too much for the PS3.
I would say so.
Definitely for the PC. If you go to his website, by the way, it's at f1wheelmod.webs.com. He's got like 3 different
variations.
Perfectly put. And you can custom order, so you can go from just getting the SLI mounted in this spot here to this F1 Ultimate with extras.
I would say some extras.
So, what does this have? This has an SLI Pro display with the custom shield, the extra long curled USB cable, 5 high-end rotary encoders.
It also has 8 NKK high-end push buttons with guards on them. They have custom color caps, so they're easily recognizable. It also has the full carbon look, which is maybe its most immediate recognizable feature.
It is, because look at how this is more of a dull finish on the back. Look at how much shinier it is. I'll give you guys a little bit more close up there. And we got obviously some great footage of this wheel.
And then it also has my favorite thing of all, and that's now the 12-position Ferrari logo dial, which that was the first thing I touched on the original, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and that was everybody's complaint about the original, is that none of these knobs were functional, and the Ferrari knob didn't work either.
That one in particular.
We always knew something could go there.
I actually removed the screws, and then I said, oh, I better not do it or I'll never get back to work. But yeah, I was looking at that, and they did it.
Yep, they sure did.
There are also 4 other LEDs that aren't normal to the SLI, so these 4, I believe, are additional.
Yep. And then all of the buttons have labels, and the rest of the wheel has been labeled as well. So that retails for €554.90, or about $718. And that does not include this.
That's the core? Is that like a core?
It's exactly the core. It's about 170 bucks for a core. So fully modded, out the door, shipped to your home, you're looking at about $1,000.
That's great. You know what? But we've seen like the real life F1 wheel at the Ferrari store. I mean, this is much more resembling that at this point, and that thing's a lot more than $1,000.
Yes, and we'll tell you a little bit more about Kai and his website and his business in a minute, and I'll just say this right now, handmade. This is all done by hand. I mean, obviously the buttons aren't made by hand, but you know, lots of things have changed, like this dial around here and just, you know, the shields around each button. So everything, now the D-pads haven't changed, these dials have not changed, the paddles have not changed, and then the grips are the same.
But what I trip out on the most is even the things that have changed have been done in a way that you would not have ever have noticed that they changed. I mean, honestly, I wouldn't have known other than feeling the click, which is, anyway, we'll get to that.
Much more substantial. So now there's other options like we mentioned, and there's the full mod F1 Pro, and it comes with the SimRace Pro display with the custom shield, a curled USB cable, 5 high-end rotary encoders, 8 NKK high-end push buttons, and that one goes for €389.90.
Okay.
So what, that'd be about $500 or so?
Yeah, a little better, more reasonable.
Go to the world calculator and figure that out, but yeah, you can do it. Check it, €389.90 for that setup.
And for €80 less, there's the full mod F1 Racer, and that one basically is the same wheel you just described without the carbon fiber look.
Exactly. So that one's €309.90. He'll also do custom orders like I mentioned, so if you just wanted to say the buttons, he's got a form at his site, and just enter that and you'll be on your way. He will ship worldwide, and in Germany it's €6, in Europe it's €16, and anywhere else, so to here in the States, it's €42, and he ships it via DHL. So again, it took about 3 weeks to get to us. So it came packaged in the original F1 box that this one came in, and came in perfect condition. The outer box was a little beat up, but the inner F1 box was still in great shape. And then some notes, like I mentioned, regarding Kai and his website and business.
Well, first off, the website isn't 100% finished. Payments are made through PayPal. The expected time for finishing a wheel is 2 to 4 weeks, depending on the amount of orders. And the F1 add-on wheel can be done either with your own wheel, or he'll go ahead and supply you with a brand new one.
Yeah, so if you already own this wheel, you can send it to Kai, and then he'll mod it for you. Or, like Shaun said, he'll buy it for you. All right, and then wrapping up the box cover stuff, there's tons of different options like we mentioned through his order form. It's 3M carbon foil, or the high-end full carbon that we have here. His support is within 24 hours, so if you buy this or purchase one, he will get back to you within a 24-hour time period. Again, he's in Germany, so you got to take that into consideration. He guarantees everything. I don't know what the warranty is. He didn't mention warranty, but he does guarantee all the parts and labor, everything he does, so he guarantees you get a working wheel when you get it at home. The SLI is the Leo Bodner. Software used is the EK Sim Racing, which is a great piece of software, and there's also the Leo Bodner software that you use for the dials. So anyway, that's going to wrap up the box cover. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, I'm going to tell you some pros, cons, rev scale, final thoughts, and you're going to see lots of footage of us driving this right after this.
GT Chassis Racing Rigs provided by Human Racing. Go to humanracing.co.th.
Welcome back to our review of the F1 Ferrari wheel mod by Kai Lohman of F1 Wheel Mods. Darin Gage here with Shaun Cole. And now we're going to get into the meat and potatoes of this review, tell you if this thing's worth the price of admission, tell you more about it. And why don't we start from the top of the wheel and just make the comparisons here. And first thing you're going to notice is instead of this flat piece here, lots of LEDs and an LCD.
Yeah, you've got the dual display, the gear shift indicator, the rev lights, an additional 6 LEDs below that. That's just the SLI portion of this.
Yep, and then the next thing you're going to notice is all these buttons have been replaced. Every single one of them, and the coverings.
Yeah, and they have these guards or shields, like we had mentioned, too, that kind of help you stay off the button when you don't want to.
Next thing is that there's been warning lights placed all throughout. There's 3 here and 3 here, and then 2 in the middle there. And then at the heart of this, the biggest change, Shaun?
Well, all these knobs now work. I mean, it was sort of small because there are so many buttons on that wheel, but it's just odd to see dials that didn't turn. And so having these additional 5 encoders is amazing. And then this center one, the actual Ferrari, I mean, that is awesome.
That's epic. That is really cool. So
I don't even know how he did that.
yeah, and now as a matter of fact, a little bit about these. You can map any one of these as actually this works as an axis, believe it or not. But what it also does is it operates functions on the display here. This one right here will adjust the brightness, and then this one adjusts the display. So you have like, I don't know, 10 different display functions: oil temp, water temp, speed, all sorts of stuff. Your position on track. You can also map them in game, which I didn't because then they were doing 2 different things.
Right.
Yeah, and again, we're using the EK Sim hardware. Go to eksimhardware.com and you can get the software that's used to light up all this stuff. Matter of fact, you can do G27 lights and Fanatic with that software, and I think that powers a bunch of different stuff. So anyway, we'll probably review that software on a separate note. That software is very powerful, and honestly, now we're gonna start getting into some pros and cons. It's not a con, but there's a lot to it.
Right.
One of the pros though, plug and play. You get it up and running, and I couldn't believe everything functioned.
Just like that.
Well, because you know what it's like setting up like the
Sim projects?
The Sim Project stuff.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. You
Right.
got to set up every light.
Right. This is completely intuitive. It knows exactly how it is, how it's going to be used, and it's pre-done that way.
Yep. And the Leo Bodner software is what powers this. So you have to actually boot up 2 pieces of software to get this thing going. And then one of the other cons, we're just going to go over the cons right now. This USB cable. And honestly, there's no other way to power this than with this USB cable, but
every version of the SLI on wheel that we've ever tested had the same problem though.
Yep. I ended up using Velcro, and this was Kai's recommendation, wrapping it around the hub after it was connected, and then Velcro it to it so it basically just has, the thing's just not, it's still, when it boots up, it's still wrapping around.
Right.
So
now you call that a con, but now when you're regular driving though, do you?
No, you don't notice it.
No, it's that startup. It's just when it's wrapping itself all the way around, it's a little annoying.
Yep, yeah, it is a little annoying. So we told you 2 of the cons, and before we get to the rest of them, wanted to tell you that we tested it with iRacing and F1 2012, and both were plug and play compatible. And it again, that software is compatible with just about every piece of software on the market.
It really is.
So as far as the racing titles go, so pretty much ready to go. So what's telling me the other 2 cons, Shaun?
A couple other cons. The first one I'm thinking of isn't that big a deal, but this has substantially increased the weight. I mean, this is almost double the weight.
I don't know about double, but yeah, it's definitely heavier for sure.
Yeah,
so there's more mass.
More mass, and that's going to be spinning and the force feedback and the wheel, everything.
Now, did it matter? Did it notice?
On T500?
No.
No,
I didn't. I didn't even notice it.
And then the other con, and this is probably the most glaring con, and that's the price. This thing's extremely expensive. Hey, we say it all the time. You get what you pay for, and this might be one of those things more where somebody wants it. It's not going to be a matter of money. But anyway,
well, I got some final thoughts on that. But yeah, you know what? The craftsmanship that goes into it, the price is a con because $1,000 for just that. If you're a Ferrari aficionado,
right?
And I got to tell you, this wheel is awesome. I'm getting the final thoughts. Let's go to the pros. First, now we've talked about sim racing art. This is sim racing art. You could put this in a glass case and show this off, and people would think that this is a Ferrari replica.
Absolutely.
They would think it. You could pull it off if they didn't see the back, with the plug. And even then, they'd be like.
Even then, I still think. Especially with it. Yeah, let's look at the back.
Someone wasn't in the know.
Who would? The connector. Even. I would buy it.
Yeah. So it's definitely a piece of sim racing art. Next pro, it makes everything functional where this one did not have it. Now every dial and button, and then plus the additional lights. So That's another pro.
Yeah. Another pro is the display all being built in, and then on top of it, being able to actually adjust that display both in brightness and function right from the very wheel. It's not software based. It's, leave those controls to control it.
Yep.
Another pro is that it's very solid and very robust.
Yep, that's for sure. Amazing craftsmanship, we mentioned that. That's another pro. And it's a Ferrari F1 replica. So, and this isn't an official Ferrari product. We need to say that right off the bat.
Right.
And they do not, license this or stand by it. As a matter of fact, I hope they don't get upset with this.
And it's not Thrustmaster either.
No, this is not an official Thrustmaster. But, I mean, who could be upset with that? I mean, this thing's, like I said, it's a piece of sim racing art.
It really is. Another pro, I mentioned the other encoders working with the display, but then I kind of left out the center knob encoder, which is even cooler, and just the function of that alone. And then lastly is that once the software is installed, this is plug and play. You don't have to do a whole lot of extra work. It's just going to work. Yeah,
and we mentioned that one of the cons could be the software too, because you have to have 2 other pieces of software running. You have to load those before you run the game. Honestly, the EK Sim hardware software, and it's like EK Sim 2 or something like that. Man, it is deep. There are so many things you can do. You can run an Android phone too is another thing that you can use that software to do. So anyway, I think that's going to
take us to the Rev scale. And I'm going to ask you because honestly, this was sent to your house, and this is like one of the rare times I've been allowed to even touch it. No, I got to do some driving.
Give me that thing. What are you doing?
That's seriously, that's the way it's been. So where do we stand on this?
I gave it an 8 out of 10, and now it's going to go into final thoughts for me. If our score was based on how much I love it, the looks, the craftsmanship, the functionality, I'd give it a 10. Personally, I give this wheel a 10. But I have to be realistic. $1,000 when this one's only $175.
Yeah.
I mean, you do get a lot of extra functionality. And, maybe me personally, if I was going to order this for myself, I probably wouldn't have gone with the full carbon look. As awesome as it looks, I don't think I need that. I'd want the functionality. Give me all the functionality, get rid of the carbon. Maybe I'd take the carbon. I don't know, it's hard to say, but that's the only reason why I took the 2 points off. And the USB cable, I did not like that. Again, did it bother me when I was driving? No. You only turn, most of the cars I was driving, you only turn this much.
Yeah.
So that thing's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
If you're going this much, you're in trouble anyway.
Yeah, you're in the wrong car probably. The wrong wheel for the wrong car.
So Shaun, final thoughts for you?
Final thoughts for me are this simple. I love this thing in all of its glory. Yes, you can call it expensive. I'm not even questioning the price myself though, because if I took the time to assemble all the parts, the core wheel, the SLI, the additional buttons, the carbon fiber foil, and then if I were to add my time and how long it would take me to do this
I wanted to ask you, as part of our final thoughts, would you, Shaun, now that for me, forget it. I mean, I could take this wheel apart. And, but as far as, I mean, maybe if it came as a, no, I wouldn't even.
In a kit?
Nope, I wouldn't do it.
I couldn't do it, I don't think. I mean, it would just, the amount of time just to get this, I mean, there's no foreign ripples or bumps or seams. Everything is just as though it belonged. And I just imagine, actually, it's even cleaned up. I mean, like that seam's now missing, you know? So, I mean, the amount of parts, the amount of time, the value of $1,000 is there. It's a matter of is it for you?
Is it in your sim racing budget?
Yeah, I mean, and for sim racers, it's sort of obscene. But again, anything else in life that takes time and quality parts to make, it comes at a fee. So I can justify the money.
So now, let's talk about the money real quick. Just to be perfectly clear here, that's $1,000 just for this. That does not include the base.
Right.
So you still have to buy the wheel, which is about $400 or $500.
Yeah.
So that's double the price of the base that this thing attaches to.
It's an extremely expensive add-on to an add-on to an add-on.
Yep. Now, in comparison, let's say you wanted to be on a complete budget and you really wanted the F1 rim. You're looking at $175 or so. And then, let's say you wanted to have encoders and all that stuff. You can get a nice button box like you have the Lane Sim Products one.
Right.
With the lights, and I have Derek Spear boxes. You can get $250, $300 max.
Right.
So you're looking at $500 for all the functionality that this has, but it's not all right here.
No.
Yeah.
And it doesn't look like that.
Nope. So that's going to wrap up our look at the F1 Ultimate with extras by F1 Wheel Mods. Kai Lohman, like to thank him again. Like to thank Peter and Yayats for, or Peter is Yayats. Yayats' name Peter, but for facilitating this whole thing and getting us this wheel. Again, 8 out of 10. You know, for me, a 10 out of 10. But being realistic and comparing it to everything else we've done and just knocking off 2 points for the price and the USB cable. There you have it. That's going to do it. That's going to wrap things up. Visit us at our website, isrtv.com. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and subscribe to us on YouTube. For Shaun Cole, I'm Darin Ganji. See you guys next time.